If you're anything like me, you want to reach the highest ranks in games, but you're busy. You've got stuff going on, and you don't have time to be spending 8-hour sessions every day to try and get to the highest ranks in games, but you're still passionate and want to improve. Over my experience of being extremely busy, but still managing to reach the highest ranks in Overwatch, Marvel Rivals, and some other games, I've came up with a guide on exactly how you can improve to reach the highest ranks. So this is my guide to improving at games with limited time to play. Now, who am I? What are my credentials? I'm Caffeined. Nice to meet you guys. I've been playing Overwatch 1 since Season 1. I first hit top 500 in Season 18. I was very young. It was my first first-person shooter. It took me a while to hit GM, but I did. I hit top 500. It was around Season 18, right when Roll Queue started. Maybe 16 or something like that. Not exactly sure. In Overwatch 1, my peak SR was 4.2. in top 500, and then I've been able to hold top 500 or GM ever since Overwatch 2's release as well, or ever since I hit GM that first time. I've been inconsistent. I would leave and I'd come back, but every time I'd be able to reach a high rank. In 66, I hit Champion, which is top 41. In Roll Queue, I've hit GM1. I reached top 199, and my peak SR on the hero, I'm 48.04 on Zarya, 46.28 on Zarya in Roll Queue. And I've done all this while being employed and in school. And the trophies you guys see behind me, I'm a drag racer. I've driven race cars, and every time we would do that, that's a week or 2 weeks out of our entire month, each month. So it took a lot of time out of my ability to play. I've had a very limited time, but I've still gotten to the highest ranks in the game. How have I done it? So here are a couple screenshots just for more credentials. All right, so what do I need? First, I'm going to say you need at least 5 to 7 days a week of at least 1 to 2 hours of focused practice per session. Now, this is going to seem like a very small amount of time for most people because it is. This is a minimum, but you can definitely do it with 5 to 7 days a week. The more frequency, the better. And I need at least 1 to 2 hours of practice to get a couple of games in, not just one. But this practice needs to be focused, okay? You need to be focused on the exact same thing, or exact thing that you're working on, right? So, you also want to be doing one weekly full in-depth VOD review. So a full VOD review, the whole session, to find one thing that you want to focus on and improve it in your practice. So you're going to find one aspect of your gameplay, you're going to improve on that aspect, and then use your 1 to 2 hours, 5 to 7 days per week to focus on that one thing. In addition, you'll want to do one weekly in-depth VOD review of a better player than you. So this could be a pro player, a streamer, and even unranked to GMs, right? So watch pros with a grain of salt because pros are playing in an organized scenario. You want to play, or you want to practice or learn from people who are practicing in the same scenario you are. So it's going to be streamers and people doing unranked to GMs. They will teach you really important concepts about the game and look at it from a different perspective than you that you can apply to your games, and this is crucial to improvement. Now, you're probably familiar with this. This is where things get different. A short 5-minute VOD review after almost every loss, okay? So I want you to pick one fight that felt awkward, and you're going to determine why you lost that fight and how you can improve, right? So this gives you a little bit of time to take a breather, to recenter your mind emotionally from, you're emotionally involved in trying to win the game. Now you're emotionally involved in trying to improve at the thing you're improving on. Find that one fight, see if you're improving on that thing, and learn from it. Now, next is optional. This is the only optional one on this list. I'm going to say one alt account is going to be extremely helpful, and we're going to go more into depth in that later. You're going to need 8 hours of sleep per night. I want you guys to get into your mind that you are improving when you are recovering. So the improvement does not happen while you are playing in the game. It happens when you are thinking back on the decisions you made in the game and when you go to sleep, right? So improvement happens in your VOD reviews and it happens in your sleep. So 8 hours of sleep is going to be incredibly important, and this will make your accuracy, your training much better. So 8 hours of sleep, non-negotiable. Now, so where things get a little bit different, 1 to 2 hours of weight training 3 to 5 times a week. Now, any exercise is good. It's going to recenter your mind, calm you down. But I'm going to say weight training because weight training also trains your mind. And it uses a lot of your food for productive muscle mass. It increases your brain's ability to perform. Weight training is crucial. All of the smartest people have some sort of exercise routine And all of the highest performers also have some sort of exercise routine. And weight training is the best form of physical activity. I can go more into depth on that later. I'm a personal trainer. I'm not just saying this because I'm biased. This is proven. Drinking enough water is going to be incredibly important too. You don't need to have a gallon of a gallon of water next to you, but you do need to drink enough to where you're not thirsty. And then eating a lot of protein and eating healthy, right? If you're over consuming unhealthy carbohydrates, you're going to have brain fog. You need to be eating protein and healthy carbs. Carbs are still good, but because you need them for brain function, but eat your protein. Now, what do I do in my sessions? How do my game sessions go? Okay. So before you even start, you're going to start off with a 5 to 10 minute aim training warm up, right? So this is going to be Vaxta or something else. You want it to replicate what you're going to do in game, not doing something like Aim Labs or Kovacs. You can do that on the side if that's something you want to improve on outside of your sessions, but I really want you to be focusing on improving in the game you're trying to improve on. So if you're trying to improve your Overwatch mechanics, improve them in Overwatch. If you're still not feeling 100% mechanically, you're going to play a warm-up game. This could either be in Quick Play or in an alt account. I'm going to recommend the alt account because that most closely simulates what you're going to be doing in your session. Quick Play is a little bit different because people are playing random heroes randomly, etc. Quick Play is okay for warming up strictly mechanics. I'm going to recommend an alt account though. Now, again, still before you even get into the session, I want you to remind yourself of what you wanted to focus on improving in the most recent VOD review you did, or just off your knowledge if you're first starting, because you need VODs to look at to VOD review, and then Q ranked with the intention of improving that aspect of your gameplay, right? So focus on the one thing. If you focus on everything, you focus on nothing. If you focus on one thing, you can improve that quickly and move on to the next thing, adding on tiny little wins, leading to improvement over the long haul. Now, and then you're going to play, right? I feel like if you're playing and you're winning, that's pretty self-explanatory, but what do I do if I start to lose, right? So after every loss, I want you to take a 5 to 10 minute breather. I want you to recenter your mind emotionally from trying to win the game or being frustrated that you didn't win the game to focusing on what you can improve on, right? So you can be better for the long haul. And that doesn't mean improving now will make you win the next game, but it will help you win games more often later on down the line. So in order to do this, it really helps to just add a little bit of a VOD review here, right? So I want you to pick 1 to 2 fights that felt awkward and watch them back. And then ask yourself, am I improving on what I'm focusing on? If you're not, then I want you to continue to work on improving it for the next game, right? Keep working on it. If you are improving, that's great. You can continue to improve on it if you want to optimize it a little bit. If you feel confident, you can find another mistake and start focusing on improving that, right? Now, if you're happy with your thought process throughout the fight, so you think that you approached this fight well, mentally you did a good job, and you don't know what you could have improved on, you think that I did great, wasn't really my fault. So one thing you could do is watch other players just to see if they would have approached a similar scenario a little bit differently. Maybe there's something that you could do that's a little bit more optimized that a better player would do that could lead to a win later on down the line, right? Small decisions lead to big results later. And after this, even if you think that you've played it very close to how they would have, accept that you can't win everything and be happy that you played it well, right? So take it as a win. Even though you lost, you won in terms of your improvement. You are improving, right? So focus on continuing the good decisions for the next game, and continue focusing on that improvement. So now, I also want you to take a 10-minute break after 1 hour of gameplay, right? So if you cram all your sessions into a small time, you're going to tire yourself out, and your quality of gameplay is going to get much worse after 1 hour if you don't take a 10-minute break, right? So just at least for 10 minutes, take a breather after an hour. Now, if you lose 2 in a row, I want you to evaluate yourself, right? Ask yourself, am I playing well? Do I feel helpless in my games? Or are these just one-offs, right? Do I feel like I can't do anything? Because most of the time, that's the point where you're reaching tilt. That's the point where you're starting to play worse because mentally and emotionally, you're fatigued, right? If you feel like you're playing well, you're still improving, and you're still mentally clear, I want you to keep queuing, just for a little bit, after your break, after your 5-minute VOD review. If you find yourself getting irritated or tilted, I want you to take a 30-minute break. Play quick play, or play an alt account to continue improving but not worry so much about winning, right? I would prefer that you just take 30 minutes off. You can do alt account or quick play, whatever, but taking 30 minutes to take a breather allows your brain to process. Remember what I said earlier, that you improve when you recover, not when you're actively doing, right? Same thing as the gym. You don't get bigger biceps from doing bicep curls. You get bigger biceps from recovering from bicep curls. So take a 30-minute break and take a breather. Think, or maybe just take your mind off the game to emotionally reset. And your brain will naturally process the things that you went through. So both win streaks and loss streaks are bound to happen, right? If you flip a coin, you're going to get streaks. So losing 2 to 3 games in a row is normal. If you continue to lose, though, it's time to take a break, even if you don't feel like the losses are your fault, right? Just to stay mentally clear, loss streaks are going to affect you. Taking breaks is going to help a lot. That doesn't mean you can't come back and queue up again, but you're going to need to take breaks. Now, after losing 3 in a row, I want you to take a 30-minute break. Schedule it, right? After 3 in a row, you're going to start playing a little bit worse. This will help cool your mind and give your brain time to think about what happened each game. And this is what I mentioned earlier. Your brain processes and creates new neural pathways when relaxed and not distracted, so give yourself time undistracted. You can take a shower, go outside, lift weights, go on a walk, or get something healthy to eat. All things gamers don't want to do, but this is going to help gamers improve a lot, ironically, right? Now, once you've taken this 30-minute break, now you can choose to do a VOD review. That could be of yourself or another player, or you're going to re-queue on your main account, right? So now after this break and you've gone and done something else that hopefully helps, you should now be mentally fresh enough to objectively analyze your gameplay or re-queue again for competitive. Now, I think the VOD review is going to be the best option, but you can definitely re-queue on your main account too. Now, after re-queuing on your main, if you lose 2 more in a row, so at this point you've lost 5 games in a row, you've taken a break, you've done all the right steps, this does happen. It's rare, but it can. But I want you to stop queuing on your main account, okay? You're hitting the point where even if you feel like you're playing well, you're mentally fresh, today may just be a bad day. The queues might just be bad. It may not be your fault. It may be, it probably is, but it might not be, right? So just go queue on your alt account or stop the session, right? We don't want to put ourselves in such a deficit where we waste time having to rank back up, right? So here's the advantage of an alt account. An alt account allows you to continue improving without the emotional stress of wasting your time and losing your rank. Because if you are playing poorly and you are rage queuing, you're continuing to lose, you are doing nothing but wasting your time. You're not improving, you're not doing anything. You can take away that emotional stress by just queuing on an alt. Now, more losses equals more time to climb back up. You're on a time budget, so you can't afford to do that too much, right? Like what I just went over. Okay, now here's what alt accounts don't do. They don't change the matchmaking, they don't boost your rank, and they don't ruin the matchmaking either, right? Your alt accounts are intended to try hard on. So if you're trying hard on your alt account, it will get you to where you belong, right? It is just for taking the stress off, and it's a slightly different position in MMR. It just gives you a mental refresh for the most part, and it allows you to not spend so much time having to re-rank your account back up, right? And it also allows you to improve on things that you're not as good at without sacrificing your rank on your main account. So if there's another hero you need to try, for me, example, D.Va, I would play D.Va on an alt account and put much more focus than I would on my main. That allows me to improve at D.Va at a quicker rate without sacrificing the rank on my main account and bring the gap closer from my alt to my main. Now, if alt accounts are used properly, they're an incredibly useful tool for continued improvement without throwing your games on your main account due to your mental or practicing something you're uncomfortable with. There you go. Now, after your session, I want you to evaluate. Ask yourself why you performed the way you did. If you performed well, what made the session go well? Now, was this because you ate well, you took regular breaks, did you exercise, did you sleep well, did you manage your stress well, were you mentally fresh, was the session earlier in the day or later? Now, if the session went poorly, you ask yourself why it went poorly. Ask the same exact questions, right? All of these drastically impact your gameplay, whether you realize it or not. Now, if the session went well, try to replicate what you did next time. If your session didn't go well, try to improve the circumstances, right? Now, sometimes it's not due to any of these reasons. Sometimes you just have an off day. It happens, right? But the goal is not to be peaking all the time. It's to make your worst days better now than they were before, right? If here's your top and here's your bottom, over time, if you slowly improve your bottom, your whole rank is going to go up, right? So sometimes your peak won't improve much, but your lows will improve. That's what we're trying to do. Okay, so that's what you do in your session, right? You queue up, you VOD review after losses, take frequent breaks, etc. Now, here's the strategy for your in-depth VOD reviews, right? And even for your short ones too, this helps. Now, like I said earlier, if you try to focus on everything, you focus on nothing. So I want you to pick just one aspect. Could be mechanics, positioning. I wouldn't even say mechanics. I'd say like ability usage or something, because you'll improve your mechanics naturally by doing your warm-ups. Yeah, choosing multiple things does not make you more time efficient. Your brain is wired to focus on one thing at a time. If you focus on multiple, your ability to focus on anything reduces them drastically. I want you to get the idea out of your mind that you can multitask. You can't. You switch task instead. So you focus on one thing, and you focus on another thing, you move. And what studies have shown is that multitasking or switch tasking actually reduces your efficiency at both things drastically, where it would have been faster if you just focus on one all the way through than the next thing all the way through. And this applies to everyone. It's not just men or women, even though women typically are known for multitasking a little bit better. It's still better to do one at a time. So this applies to VOD reviews. Pick one thing at a time. Now, I want you to pause every time you make a decision regarding that aspect that you're discussing and ask if it was a good decision or a bad one, right? Now, take me on Orisa, right? Or let's just say ability usage, right? I want you to pause every time you use the ability and ask if it was a good use of the ability or if you needed to use it differently and save it for another use. And you're just going to repeat that every single time throughout the VOD. Just pause and ask, was this good? Was this bad? And think about it. Just do that. It makes it a lot simpler. You don't have to think of the in-depth macro and micro of what's happening on all players' screens to determine if there was a better thing you should have done. Just pause and ask, was this good or was this bad? And how could I have done this better? Now, find the mistake you continue repeating and improve it. Now, sometimes you can make one random mistake on something, but you're going to make mistakes no matter what. What you're trying to do is you're building a narrative. You want to see, why am I continuing to make these mistakes over and over and over again? Once you find the mistake that you keep repeating it, you want to try to focus on improving that thing. So for example, on my video where I did criticism and cardio, I highly recommend watching it. Very good watch. I determined that I was using my javelin too early, right? I was doing the right thing, javelining the hazard, but I wasn't using it at the right time. So I'd use it, it wouldn't do anything, and then he'd go and engage on my team, right? Big mistake to be making, but I didn't realize it in the moment. I realized it in the VOD review. Then I was able to improve that, and that helped improve my Orisa drastically. Now, after discovering the mistake, you want to plan your sessions and then do follow-up VOD reviews. So after you've discovered it, follow-up VOD reviews should be used to ensure that you've improved. Now, once you're confident that you've improved, you can move to the next aspect of your gameplay that needs improvement. And you're just going to continue repeating this process. So, VOD review to find a mistake, focus on that mistake, VOD review to make sure you're improving the mistake. Once you've improved, find a new one. Repeat, rinse and repeat. And that is the whole document. So guys, this is available for download. This will be in the description of my YouTube. This will also be in my Twitch account, !guide. And this is my free guide on how to reach high ranks on a time budget. I've been Caffeined. Thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it. I hope this really helps a lot of you, right? Playing on a time crunch is difficult. So thanks for watching. I will catch you guys in the next video. Have a good one. Bye-bye.